Hi guys, it's day two of distance learning. I loved how day one went. So many of you turned in quality work. Um, I am so proud with how you got online and you were able to get your assignments done. You did them really well. You explained them with full sentences and everything like I wanted. So I think it's going well. Some of you I haven't heard from yet, so I'll be making a phone call home just to make sure that everything's okay and that you're able to find the information. Remember, it's going to work out best if you keep your daily schedule. So if it's a white day, you should be logging in here on a white day for social studies if that's when you have it, or a red day and vice versa. I had some kids that emailed me and said, "Hey, I don't see the assignment." And then I looked and I saw, oh man, well, no wonder they don't see the assignment. They're a red day kid. All I did was post it for the white day students. So make sure that you're on the right day whenever you're coming to social studies. Follow that schedule. It's going to make everything wonderful. In this next section, through the Mayans, I'm going to keep it pretty simple today. If we were in the classroom, we would be switching in between books all the time. Remember the blue book and then the orange book, which looks like this. The Mayans are in both books. Actually, the orange book is going to have more about the Mayans than the blue one does. If you remember back, we have the online book for everyone, which looks like this. Remember these instructions when we went and we signed up for the online book? You guys probably already have your login information and all of that. When you click Class Zone e-services and you show up there, it works. Let's say yours doesn't work. You can't figure it out. Use my username and my password. Just make this S a capital S. That'll help you out. Because I had to reset this and now it's a capital S. So when you get on there, you can see the book just like I can. Looks just like this. Each page is right up here at the top where you can see it. Here I am on page 284, 285. And so we're going to hit the ground running here. The Mayans we learned the other day, they're part of Mesoamerica. The three main ones of Mesoamerica that we're going to study are the Mayans, the Incas, the Aztecs. Mayans being first. So far yesterday, we found out that the Mayans lived in a very hilly country. They also were down in the lowlands of this mountainous region. They used the rivers for farming and for irrigation and travel and trade. But then they also grew corn. And the way that they were able to grow corn was through slash and burn farming, where they went through the jungle and kind of cut everything down, burned out the roots, and farmed where they could. Now, I mentioned trade up and down the river. They really just kind of traded with each other because this is a civilization that did not wander too far. Like I said yesterday, if they looked at the map, they could have made it clear down into South America. They could have come up in here to the United States as we know it today if they wanted to. They were really kind of their own people. So they settled there. Today we're going to move on. And look what happens. It knocks me out of there all the time. So I simply just go back and I click on the thing here, and it should take me right back to the books. I'm in this first book. So don't worry about trying to log back on. Just go back to the start screen, hit the thing, and there you go. Obviously, it moves pretty quick, doesn't it? Not really. So I jumped up here to page 308 now. And on 308, like I said, we learned that they were farmers and they grew something called maize, which is a type of corn. And they did that through slash and burn farming. When we go through each of these pages, we'll see that they had religious beliefs like we talked about yesterday. They prayed to many gods. They had one supreme god, which was the Lord of Fire. And a lot of their stuff dealt with fire. So the neat thing is if we were in class, we would be making sacrifices where we would throw somebody into the fire. So if I can talk Cooper into it here soon, one of our videos, we may make a sacrifice out of him. We'll see if he's up for it or not. If he's not up for it, we'll make him be up for it. It'll be fun. Of course, no one will be harmed. We're just make-believe. We compared the Mayans to the Egyptians. Look at the Egyptian pyramid versus the Mayan pyramid. The Egyptians, this was a tomb for their pharaohs. The Mayans, this was built like a church. This was their religious altar, so to speak. People would come here for religious ceremonies. They both had a writing system. The Mayan glyphs were pictures, and same with the Egyptian glyphs. Very similar, although a world away as far as it goes. And then finally, their city became abandoned about 900 AD. No one really knows what happened. Maybe it was the Spanish coming around and pushing people out whenever they were looking for new land. Some people also believe that it was because of overcrowding and farming. There wasn't a whole lot of room there to spread out with all the mountains, and that people may have simply just gone their separate ways, so to speak. But there are still Mayan people that live there. The descendants of the Mayans are still all over this part of Mexico, and many of their traditions and beliefs still run strong. One neat thing that we're going to talk about today is the Mayan ball game. And the Mayan ball game, many people believe that the Mayans invented something that was very similar to soccer. In fact, most people believe that soccer came from this ball game. And the ball game simply was they had two teams. There was a wall on this side with a hoop, and the hoop was kind of a sideways hoop into the wall, and then a wall on this side. And it was almost like basketball or soccer. It was basketball in the fact that they wanted to get it through the hoop, and soccer in the fact that they each were going separate ways trying to score a goal. I guess basketball or soccer. Soccer, so that they were only able to hit the ball with really their hips and their legs. They could not use their feet or their arms. And one thing about it is this game was so important because they put two teams against each other, and they had high stakes, and they believed that the gods would reward the team that did the best, the team that won. So the team that lost, if you were the team captain and you lost, guess what they do to you? They throw you in the fire as a sacrifice to the gods. So this losing team person, they would say, oh man, so sorry you lost. And they would offer them up as a sacrifice. And a sacrifice means they're not coming back. They're not coming back. So can you imagine playing a game where you knew if you lost, you're going to die? No good. No bueno. So today we've talked about a couple of different things. One other thing that I wanted to mention is we are going to look at the Mayans, some of the things that they did back then versus today. So you're going to have two different little homework assignments. One is our regular slide, which looks like this. This slide is day 2, nothing to do on this first side. The next slide, nothing to do, just shows you where the Mayans were. A question about their calendar. They invented this calendar that had 365 days on it, and basically they were able to know when to plant their crops, and several other things that you need to look in the book for to see exactly what that calendar did for them. But like I said, they had somebody there looking up at the sky, and they knew exactly that it was 365 days until the next star came around. And lo and behold, guess what? How many days do we have on our calendar now? 365. So they knew what they were doing. This next slide talks about their writing system, which I touched on briefly. And they also kept their writing system, some of their important documents, in a special book. And this question saying, what was that book? Now, when you get to this part, there are some similarities between the Mayans back then and the things that we do today. The Mayans back then, they had corn. Tell me about, in this little chart, you're going to type in how they grew their corn versus, and what they used it for, and versus what do we use our corn for today and how do we grow it? Chocolate. How did they use their chocolate then versus how we have ours today? And then the ball games, like I just talked about, this ball game here, which was the Mayan ball game called Pakatok. And if you click on this, look, it'll take you to a YouTube video, which kind of shows you exactly how they played that game. I won't play this whole video for you, but if we were in class, we would go outside and try and play this game. So if you've got a bouncy ball, If you've got a bouncy ball, you can try to do it. You can see they can only use their hips really to get the ball going. Wouldn't it have been easier? Somebody who invented soccer after this was probably like, hey, you fools, why don't you just use your feet and you'd have a lot better chance of getting the ball where you want it. But see that hoop right there? That's the hoop they're trying to get it into. It doesn't look like they play much defense, though. So if I was on the other side and I was the guy who was like, I'm going to die if we don't get this in the goal, I'd be over here trying to knock it over onto my side. So that is the Egyptian ball game there. But basically, you're going to go through here and fill out this chart. I went ahead and took a screenshot of each page that you're going to need. This is how they used their corn back then versus how we use it today. This is the ball game back then versus our present day of soccer. Both of them are similar because we can't use our hands. And then finally, chocolate, which is my favorite. How they used their chocolate back then versus present day how we use chocolate. And it's very similar because we can also drink our chocolate just like they did. So today, kind of an easy little lesson. You're going to fill out this chart. You're going to do the slides and try and play around with getting on this second book. So when you look here on class services and you log in, it'll give you two books. This one here is the orange one. This one here is the blue one. The blue one, easy. We can get on that easily. The orange one, we'll start using that for day 3. So again, let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully everything's making sense for you. I want to make this as easy as possible for us, and hopefully we'll start, maybe we'll get Cooper talked into a human sacrifice. If you have time around the house, maybe you can try and play that ball game, set it up down in the basement or something, maybe with a brother or sister. Post a video of you trying to do that. It is difficult. If we were in class today, we would go outside and I would have one of those red bouncy balls and we would just try and get it simply into a goal. It's not as easy. Well, it didn't look easy in that video either, but it's not easy when you try it. So only using your hips. So if you want to post that in the comments section, that would be awesome for us to see. And maybe we'll try it here with Cooper and I. Take care, guys. Stay well. Be healthy. And I miss you.